Dana, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Bill Hemmer. Big hour ahead. We'll talk to the former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, former DNC Interim Chair Donna Brazile, and Timothy Cardinal Dolan on this, the National Day of Prayer. First, however, we begin with the breaking news, and there's a lot of it in the past hour alone. Here we go. The Justice Department dropping the criminal case against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, a stunning reversal in one of the key cases brought by Bob Mueller's investigation. Awaiting word from the president on this. At this hour, at this moment, he is meeting with the Texas Governor, Greg Abbott, in the Oval Office. We will bring you headlines from that as we get it, and the playback will occur this hour, so stay tuned. First, they'll bring in special report anchor Bret Baier to get some reaction on this. And Bret, good afternoon to you. At the moment, just reading some quotes inside the Oval Office. The president says he's very happy for Flynn. We're advised that a federal judge still has to sign off on this recommendation on behalf of the DOJ. Nonetheless, Bret, this is moving quickly at this hour. Your reaction?
This is exponentially better for Michael Flynn than a pardon would have been because it clears the deck. It does not have with it some thought that he was still going to be prosecuted. If this is, as we suspect, that the prosecution is completely dropping everything, that is a big win for Michael Flynn after years of being in the crosshairs of the Justice Department for lying to FBI agents. But once the documents came out about what those agents were saying and what Peter Strzok was saying in the lead up to that interview, it changed the dynamic completely. And obviously this changes the entire case.
You think about some of the documents that came out from this House probe overnight. I mean, we woke up to headlines suggesting that the collusion case came up empty. And this is just more of a pile on this whole Russia matter. And it appears, Bret, that all this Russia stuff is just going up in smoke.
Think about it. There was crossfire, you name it. There was a crossfire element to the thought that there was a tie between the Trump campaign and Russia with the election, specifically targeting some of those folks for that connection. That came up empty, as far as we can see. And despite the significant aspects of the Mueller report that deal with Russia trying to influence the election and interfere in the election, the fact that there is not this other element to it and the other parts are falling apart is significant. And expect this to be a political baton for the president to mention again and again.
Within 6 months of an election, too. One more thing, too. There's another headline from Bob Mueller. In fact, some of these documents reveal the probe went much further beyond the initial statement for the known mandate, I should state. It begs the question, what was Bob Mueller doing this whole time? And were they out there looking for something that never existed? Were they trying to find a crime where they could not find one?
You know, Bill, we're in the middle of dealing with COVID and all of the health crisis and the economic crisis. But if you look back and you realize when Bob Mueller and his team knew that there was nothing there, it was before the midterm election. And that raises its own questions about where that investigation went and how it proceeded.
With regard to this pardon, remember the question that came to the president about a week ago? You know, will you pardon General Flynn? He said that he does not believe that will be necessary. Perhaps he had an indication as to whether or not some of the lead prosecutors of the Department of Justice were going to recommend to the AG, Bill Barr, that he drop the case against Michael Flynn. If they knew that a week ago, it came true today, pending this federal judge's ultimate decision once it's recommended by the DOJ, Bret.
Yeah, and listen, the president is probably going to tout this. There are other questions about pardons of, Roger Stone and Paul Manafort, and those are different, situations individually. But Michael Flynn, if you look back to the beginning and all that he's been through throughout this case, this is the best possible version of how this goes down if the DOJ drops it.
Bret, thank you. I believe the phrase from the president last week was that will not be necessary. So we'll see if we get reaction from him on that. Thank you, sir. That meeting in the Oval Office continues again.